Hi guys. So today, in honor of the new Texas Chainsaw coming to Netflix, you know, one of many reboots, sequels, rebootfuls. Yeah, I don't know. This franchise specifically has suffered from a lot of reboots.
It's one of the slashers, one of the big slashers I was very unfamiliar with, and boy, I wish it stayed that way.
And like, there's a new reboot like every 2 years. Like,
legit.
Yeah, I mean, like, it felt like it was just yesterday when they did the movie Leatherface, which was supposed to be like a reboot thing, and then before that there was another reboot, then before that there was a reboot, now there's a new reboot.
It's worse than Spider-Man.
Good lord. And I read the synopsis for the new one, Ron, because I think originally I was under the impression that it was going to take place straight after the first one. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, like, set in the 70s, it's going to be, like, straight afterwards or whatever. Leatherface is going to be going after Sally or whatever. But it's like, oh, no. Influencers are going to come to Texas to revamp it. And then they run into Leatherface. I'm like, oh, no, not influencers.
Oh, no, please. Not waste of, oxygen that is bloody Instagram influencers.
I don't know, man. Well, the good part is, like this movie, the new one's only gonna be like an hour and 20 minutes, so at least it's not gonna waste your time.
So at least it's not that painful. It's like death by electric chair or the new Halloween, the new Texas Chainsaw.
Exactly. But anyway, so today we're doing the original Texas Chainsaw, obviously the time with the new one coming out.
The release, February 18th, you said, right?
Yeah, February 18th.
Nice.
I've always wanted to do this film. This is definitely one of the ones I wanted to do when we started our podcast. So then when I saw there was a new Texas Chainsaw coming out, I was like, okay,
why not?
Yeah, best time ever to do it, basically.
Literally, man. Yeah, so, you sit forward. Yeah, no, actually, in frame. Sorry, guys, we're trying out a new camera, so we're just experimenting a bit with.
Yeah, it's my new camera that I got, so we're testing it out. And then obviously Kevin's camera that we usually uses over here.
My good old HED is here chilling.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's why we keep nervously looking at you guys, because we're checking we in frame and all that, and if it's recording.
Just want to get my credits ready. So this film was directed and written by Toby Hooper.
I literally thought you were going to say Maguire. I've heard Toby Maguire so much recently.
No, it was Toby Hooper. Also written by by Kim Henkel.
I was thinking Kardashian. All right.
No, it's a dude, it's not a girl. I mean, sorry, it's a dude, not a girl.
Yeah, no.
Original music by Wayne Bell and Toby Hooper. This thing barely has any music, quite frankly. Danielle Pearl. Cinematography by Danielle Pearl.
Oh, nice.
And film editing by J. Larry Carroll and Sally Richardson. And then
cameras used. Yeah, this is where you get interesting.
Yeah, this is when I get interested with my technical specs. I love this thing. So this movie was shot. This movie was shot has a mono soundtrack mix, which is obviously very common for back in the day in the 70s.
The older movies.
70s, and in terms of how it was shot in 16mm.
The film,
which is why I enjoy this. And that's actually very important because how it actually happened was that they deliberately used very dirty film because they wanted to have that garage, and
it comes across as very like,
and that film grain and everything because they wanted the audience to feel unsettled.
Yeah, exactly, uncomfortable. Well, they definitely pulled it off nicely.
But yeah, basically it was just shot in 16mm. Then obviously was printed. The printed format was 35mm. But yeah, basically, so yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
This is what Scooby-Doo would look like if it was R-rated. That's all this is.
Yeah, basically R-rated Scooby-Doo.
It's R-rated Scooby-Doo. That's what Texas Chainsaw is.
They shot this film in 16mm. And yeah, our experiences with this film. When I first watched this film, I pretty much had the reaction you had because I know you watched it last night with me for the first time. It was your first viewing. This is my second viewing of the movie. I watched it a few years ago because I was always into the slashers, and I think also the thing is, I kind of went in expecting something more along the lines of like Friday the 13th or Halloween or something like
I
that.
think everyone makes that mistake.
Because that's kind of what what you expect from a slasher movie. Because Halloween, like we said in our Halloween in the episode, which we'll have at the top so you guys can click there.
Oh yeah.
Is that it pretty much set the slasher format, the format that all slasher movies are would follow. But this movie came out 4 years before Halloween, so it's technically the original slasher film. And you can go back even as far as Psycho. Some people even consider Psycho from 1960 as a slasher. But Texas Chainsaw from 1974, very different. Like not your typical slasher film.
Definitely
like this film wants to, because other slasher films you watch a slasher film, you're kind of like, this is dumb, this is stupid, but I'm having fun because I get to see annoying characters just get killed, and it's like it's fun. You watch
it's
legit
fun.
Even though that's a horror movie, you watch the Friday the 13th for fun, or you watch Halloween for fun. Texas, or at least the original Texas Chainsaw, you don't watch this movie for fun. This movie wants to unsettle you and creep you out.
Legit, this is the movie you watch when you want to kill your boss. That's what you watch.
Yeah. We start with our opening crawl, even like that opening credit sequence where it's like that all the red and that weird.
Yeah, I was
imagery.
saying, dude, it's like so many older movies start with like very zoomed in sort of B-roll stuff, and they have credits. It's always like that. I like it.
But I also just love the imagery. It's like very like creepy, and even the music that they play.
And the contrast is harsh, dude. It's like the blacks are so intense. You can't really work out what you're looking at. It's literally just black and red imagery.
Exactly.
Really cool.
So our film opens up, and then our group of it's still recording. Our group of teenagers are driving around in this van right here. This
Scooby-Doo van.
Mystery machine. They're driving around in their van through Texas, and it's like very hot. And then it's like 3 guys and 2 girls, and the one dude, his name is Franklin. He's a crippled, so he's in a wheelchair, and I'm just kind of going like, okay, why did you bring a crippled wheelchair to a crippled wheelchair driven person to Texas, where there's like grass and like heavy terrain,
dude,
and like
they didn't even bring off-road tires.
Like I'm not saying obviously bring him on vacation, but take him to somewhere where he
has mobility.
We has mobility.
Legit, for sure. That's just like
take him to Vegas or something. He'll be fun there.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Believe me. At least everything there is paved. But no, they decided, all right, guys, let's go bushwhacking with their machetes.
Yeah, I felt sorry for Franklin throughout this movie.
Legit, bro. Shame. I was trying to understand where were they going, and why did they bring him specifically?
I don't know. They don't
really say where they're going.
They don't really say where they're going. They just said that they're headed somewhere, and then later, Franklin's like busy complaining to himself, saying like, come on, Franklin, let's go on a vacation. It'll be fun. And meanwhile, he's having like the worst time ever.
Dude, literally, and his arm gets cut by some creepy dude, mustache man. He makes a cameo.
But before we get there, he basically we get to the bit where they stop on the highway, and then they let him out. He comes out obviously because he needs to go to the bathroom. So he's like on the tip of this mountain, busy this hill. Sorry, not a mountain, just this hill. And he's just like he's busy trying to do it, and then and then this truck goes past and blows back, and then he goes falling down the thing. And I almost felt like editing that moment, and then adding in like Homer Simpson don't, and he was falling down.
Yeah, shame, but I don't know why that truck did that. If it spooked him or something, but surely the bloody air displacement couldn't have been that strong. Bloody hell.
I guess also trying to overplay it or something.
Maybe, yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fine afterwards.
But yeah.
I think it was an introduction to how bad the day will get. You think it's the worst thing falling on your face, and then that day specifically was nah.
Yeah. I will say that that's the one thing this movie doesn't really get very wrong, is that the characters are very weak. You don't care about.
It doesn't get them wrong.
No, okay, it does. It does get them wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You don't care about any of the characters really. You only know their names because they're constantly screaming out into the distance for their names when their friends get lost.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no.
I think I just started referring them as the Scooby-Doo characters.
Yeah.
It was easier to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shame. Like, I don't know this movie. But I'm working off of you if you want to continue from the whole where they stop with the truck.
So yeah, so anyway, so they continue driving, and then they pick up a very, very red flag.
Like, dude, if there was ever a serial killer.
Yeah.
You remember in 2016 or 2017, there was that whole killer clown phase in the States.
Yeah.
He was like the guy that started that. I would have, look, if he stopped in front of me, I would have ran him over. I would not stop for this guy.
He's got this big red scar thing on his face, and he's like,
dude, and he has that bag made out of his dead cat. I'm not gonna stop and pick him up.
They say like, oh, should we stop and pick him up? And then it's like, the one girl's like, no, he looks sketchy. Let's carry on driving.
Legit.
They should have listened to that girl.
They should have, bro.
Anyway, they let him in, and of course he's like just immediately just like, this guy's just like off the ravine completely.
He's not even missing a screw. The whole toolbox is gone.
Yeah, exactly. He's off the reserves basically. He's like crazy. He's like freaking like takes Franklin shows him his knife, and then like he takes out his knife. He's got this like shaving knife or whatever.
Yeah, he's got that old shaving. I'm not sure what that thing is called, but it is.
And like he takes a picture, and then he wants like $2 for it, $2 for it or whatever. It's kind of weird. And then anyway, eventually he cuts Franklin's arm, and then eventually have to like get him out. To kick him out the van or whatever.
I love how they kicked him out. They literally opened the door and then he hopped out and immediately started kicking the van. Like, he didn't even take much force to get out.
Chasing them, yeah.
Oh, that guy. I have notes, but continue.
Yeah. So, basically that happens. They have this strange encounter with this dude. And it's like, and that kid, this is why you never pick up a hitchhiker.
Legit, bro. If you ever wanted a go-to example of why you don't pick up hitchhikers in the middle of bloody nowhere, and there you go, it's him. I mean, I don't mind giving the dude a ride, if it's like, there's more than one of us, and it's not late at night, and it's not a long creepy road, then I don't mind helping someone out. But otherwise, I'm like, nah, you sus.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so they're busy. They continue on. They stop at this gas station, and then they say fill her up, please. It's like, and then the owner's just like, I don't have gas.
We have no gas.
I'm just like, but you're a gas station,
dude.
I mean, we know why he doesn't have gas like later in the movie, but at first, because I haven't watched this movie in a long time, so I forgot sort of about that twist. So when he said, like, when you're watching that opening scene, he says, I ain't got no gas. It's just like, well, then why are you even open for business then?
Dude, legit. So you can
You're like the worst gas station ever.
Dude, he can sell 1 or 2 bags of Lay's. That's about it. That's the only business he's going to get out there if he has no fuel. And he has that guy that just washes windows and stares into the abyss.
Yeah, we never see that guy again.
We never see him again, but he's really off-putting, which is obviously the point. But like, he washes the windscreen, and he goes back. And then the dude starts a conversation, so he walks back to wash it again. And I'm literally like, dude, you couldn't finish it the first time. Oh, this movie, man. I mean, there's obviously fans for it, and I don't mind that, obviously, but I have notes, dude. I have notes.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna ask your opinion pretty soon. I just want to get a little.
Yeah, once we're sort of set up.
I just want to get a little further into the story.
No.
So, anyway, so they say Franklin keeps going on about how his dad owns this property out here in Texas, and they're close to it. So they want to go to the actual property. And then they ask this owner guy for directions, and the owner says like, oh, you shouldn't be poking around other people's property because they don't take kindly to that and everything. You guys should stay here. I've got food or whatever. Then just eat, and then the fuel truck will be here like in a few hours, and you guys can fill up or whatever. Of course, the kids don't listen. They're just like, yeah, whatever, man.
Typical Scooby-Doo kids.
Yeah, they go to the actual property. Nobody's there.
So, dude, I don't think anyone's been there since the 1800s. That building is run down.
Yeah. And they don't find it suspicious at all. Like, Franklin comes into the building, doesn't find it. He's like, oh, my dad's not here. And the place looks run down.
And he goes inside, dude.
He goes inside, doesn't have a problem.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, we do find sort of things. We find, like, sort of like a little, like, sacrificial pit thing there. And we also see a noose. So clearly something happened there. But we don't actually see Franklin's dad or anything like that.
Legit. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not even their property.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was the wrong house they went to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those houses, they're not, like, laid out in a grid pattern. They're sort of, scattered farmhouses. So.
Yeah, scattered farmhouses, basically. Anyway,
Oh, well.
and then they basically they're checking out this thing. The rest of them go upstairs and freaking leave poor Franklin, like, outside.
Yeah, no, he is literally the fifth wheel.
And then he's got to try and get up. He's got to try and get into the house, but he's got to deal with all this rough terrain. And we were just kind of going like, come on, man. You could never have one person just stay with him. So if he wants to come inside, they could just at least, they could just be with him and just at least help him if he needs help.
Exactly.
I'm like, come on, man, guys.
Dude, he's legit the fifth wheel. The other two are obviously, or the other four rather, are two different couples. And he's literally the fifth wheel there holding candles. Like, bro, leave the guy at home with his, what do they have in the 70s? With his Tetris or something.
Tetris or his jigsaw puzzle.
His jigsaw puzzle, yeah, his Rubik's Cube, man.
Rubik's Cube.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was saying, I'm sure that he is used to getting around by himself, in his own time. He's probably not that dependent on anybody.
He's not dependent on anybody, but
But
the thing is, you've taken him out to Texas where there's no solid road. It's just like grass and dirt and everything.
Dude.
Like, how's he supposed to get around?
Legit, that's so harsh. I mean, maybe wherever they were going would be better, but...
Yeah, I mean, when he gets into the house, the actual house, he's fine because there's, like, floorboards and everything, so he can move perfectly fine. But when he's... Like, leave him outside, like, or at least if you're gonna go inside, at least help him inside the house so he can then at least move around while you guys go upstairs. But don't like leave him out there to like for him to get onto the thing. Because he's gonna like struggle to get up there. He's gonna like grab the ball. He's gonna try and pull himself up. I'm
surprised Eye of the Tiger didn't start playing. The amount of gymming he was doing.
Yeah, he was getting his
cardio, bro. Shave the poor guy. Those are not his friends. Like, they got whacked and they kind of deserved it. But
yeah, exactly.
Man, I don't know. Like, what did you think up until this point? The first time you watched it. I know this is the second time, but
all right. Well,
initially, were you invested or were you as gobsmacked as I was?
Up until this point, I was like kind of going like, "What is this movie?" Like, I was just kind of going like, "What am I watching?"
It's a rough draft.
Especially that like first scene where that guy's in the van with him, and then I was watching the scene. I was just going, "What is this?"
Dude, legit.
This is weird. Like,
I mean, you could tell a meth head sometimes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that guy was eating a few more than just meth.
Yeah.
He was really sketchy.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like it was very, very sketchy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Up until this point thing, but I just want to get to a certain point of the story, then we can continue. Basically, Franklin's like, struggling to get into this damn house. He finally gets inside. Of course, he's livid. He's like complaining.
He's salty, I can imagine.
So he's very salty. Anyway, and then two of the one guy and the one girl, they come down the stairs. It's like, oh yeah, where's the pool? Is there a swimming pool or like a river here we can go swim in? Because I don't know, I want to go do some skinny dipping or whatever. And then he's like, oh yeah, just carry on down the path. Then you'll see two sheds, and then just go past there. There's a pool there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and then they leave. They go down. They find there's no pool. Pool's water's been drained or whatever.
I don't know why they even went to go bloody check. The state of the house could tell you the state of the pool.
Yeah, exactly. So they go and they continue on. They go around the corner, and then they basically find this house. And the house, obviously, it's like a proper house. It's not run down like the other one. So they go knocking on the door to go find somebody. And then they don't, and then they can't find anybody. And then I think, the girl, she goes and sits because there's a swing there. Mm. She goes and sits, or like there's like one of those like in America they have like those chairs that's like attached to those.
The chains, that you can swing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those like wooden chairs that are attached to the chain. Mm-hmm. It's one of those. She sits sits there, and then he obviously goes in to go find somebody, and then that's when he encounters Leatherface. So we get our first.
I actually didn't expect it to be that quick.
Yeah, and basically he like knocks him out, like drags him into like this room full of bones and stuff, and then like he like slams this like steel door, whatever.
Dude, his bunker.
Yeah. Basically the movie's like almost like very boring up until that point. Because now you're like, okay, fine, at least something good's gonna happen.
Exactly. And who was it? Who is the guy that whacked? It was Shaggy, right? The driver.
Well, no, it wasn't the driver. It was Fred.
It was Fred that got whacked.
The other guy, the driver guy, he gets whacked later.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Oh. So up until this point, take it over to you. What did you think of this film?
You know the old dial-up internet sound? That's what my brain was during this whole intro.
You're just sitting there just going, what the hell am I watching?
What the fuck am I watching? Dude, I know I love slashers, right? I like the major players. And of course Leatherface was one of the major players. He's
a classic.
He is. It's not he was, he is. And so I've heard it's a weird movie, but I wanted to give it a shot. But dear God, I don't know what I watched last night. And the whole build-up, everything is just weird. The characters are forgettable. Usually I look for like the smallest light in someone, but they were really just 70s teenagers, dude. Oh, goodness. And then, of course, they met the weirdest guy in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They were all cool going to this alleged 5-star house, which was abandoned. I don't know, man. This movie, I didn't like it up until Fred gets whacked. I didn't enjoy a single frame because it seemed so like scattered. I get that older movies, especially, they were very simple premises, which is of course fine, but that one was very loose, dude. Honestly, I was trying to understand why everyone was so jolly and happy to go to this house, and then they were kept harping on about the slaughterhouse. Franklin's dad had a slaughterhouse or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because before they pick up the weird hitchhiker dude, they go past the slaughterhouse, and then Franklin's going on about, oh yeah, now they used to kill them with a sledgehammer. Now they got this air gun thing that they use.
Mm-hmm. Which obviously comes which sort of comes into play
I guess
later in the film.
Yeah, it's sort of introduced to the themes and everything, but it's a very weird like topic of conversation while driving.
Dude.
But yeah, I guess they're trying to foreshadow what's going to happen later.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It was loosely setting up the sort of final fight with Grandpa.
Yeah.
How old is that guy?
What, the owner?
Yeah.
I don't know. Grandpa the wheelchair. He's
Grandpa.
He's like 130 years old, man. I was kind of going like, wait, like I'm assuming he's probably dead, and they just think, and because they're crazy, they think he's still alive, but his head's still moving and stuff. So I'm like, is he alive? Is he not alive?
Dude, I don't know what's going on with Oom there, but like, I don't know what vitamins he's been taking, but he's looking good for 130. Jeez, man. I mean, he probably signed the Declaration of Independence. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's comes later. Initially though, I don't think they're friends. I think they're more like, when parents get along, they make their children just chill together, and there's that awkward group that's always together. That's what.
When the parents meet up and everything, it's like, okay, you guys are all going to the kiddies table.
Yeah, legit. And then there's that awkward silence. That's what that group is to me. They have no like synergy, no chemistry, nothing, dude.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if it was like the bad 60s music that made their brains mushy, but they really didn't seem to question anything even remotely out of place. And like, if I saw that house, I wouldn't go in. There's probably snakes in there and all sorts. If I went to that gas station and that creepy old came up to me saying there's no gas, I would speed back in the other direction. There were so many signs, dude. And then, of course, they went...
Like Anaconda, red flags.
Red flags, dude. But even that guy was subtle. This band of backwoods savages, they weren't subtle in the slightest.
Oh yeah. I don't know, man. It's freaking weird.
It is so weird. Like the topic of conversation, they can't seem to discuss anything in a logical, natural, flowing manner. It's sort of like, oh yeah, so we have a slaughterhouse. So what do you think of space travel?
It's very clunky dialogue.
It is, man. I mean, if you think of other films that came out like around that time, what's a really good example of a 1970s, mid-70s film? Because I'm sure there's better examples.
I mean, even if you go back to the 50s or 60s, there were movies that had better dialogue and better storytelling.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
12 Angry Men, Psycho, any of Alfred Hitchcock's...
Literally any of Alfred's stuff.
Alfred Hitchcock's films had great dialogue and were captivating and, like, you know, really
engaging.
made you think or whatever. I don't know, freaking... Okay, this came afterwards, but Alien... Halloween.
I was thinking Alien, but that was...
I mean, Halloween, okay, yeah, it also has a lot of dumb characters you don't care about, but at least has Laurie, so you at least care about her.
It feels more collected, though.
It feels more collected, and it feels like there's an actual story, whereas this one doesn't really feel like there's a story. But it doesn't surprise me. I don't know. Toby Hooper was... I mean, I don't really want to go deeply into it, because there's already a bunch of videos that, like, go into this stuff and everything like that. But it was a very toxic horror movie set to work on. Oof. Because he basically didn't care about what his actors thought. They didn't have a lot of money. They were filming this movie in the middle of a Texas heat wave in Texas.
Oh, so everyone was already on edge.
Yeah, they had to film in this old decrepit looking house. They all had to wear the exact same clothes every single day, which don't get washed. They have to just wear the same costumes that don't get washed every single day. They literally all just wanted to kill each other, especially during the dinner scene. And then Toby Hooper... Okay, I mean, I don't know how Toby... I don't know if he actually, like, was like this or said this. So I don't want to, like, you know, make it look like I know exactly what happened or whatever. But from what I gathered from it, it seemed like he had that attitude of, like, just... attitude when actors complained to him. He's just like, just shut up and do your damn job. Yeah, he kind of had that attitude. So, I don't know. Doesn't really think. He's just like, I don't care. I just wanted to make this damn movie.
And that actually carries over to the film itself. It seems to, like, spread into the film. You can tell the tension was high and everyone was so fucking irritated. You can see it, man, because I felt it. God.
Alright, yeah. But anyway, so what I think about this film is that when I first watched it, I basically, all the things you're saying right now, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. That's good, because you're going to provide a different outlook to me, because I still have that internet dial-up tone playing, dude.
But anyway, now that I've watched it a second time, I actually really like this movie, and I really, really appreciate it. There's just so many aspects about it that I appreciate. I mean, look, I'll even admit right now, it's not a good story. The story's terrible, characters are terrible, dialogue is shit. Like
there's something about cows in a holiday.
Yeah, it was a toxic set for the actors to work on. I mean, the actors deserved way better. Like, I mean, even if they weren't, like, super talented actors or this was their first job, they still deserved to work on a better set.
Yeah, of course. Just, be decent people. Plus, they pulled off a good job.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, like I was saying earlier, I do like this film. Like, and there's many aspects I like about it. Even though that we had to have a toxic set to get to it, it really does set up the tension. This movie is, like, unsettling. It just really wants to, like, from the beginning, it wants to unsettle you. It wants to unsettle you, creep you out, gross you out. Just, you don't want to be there. You just, like, watch this, like, oh, I don't want to be here. Like, oh, you want to go.
I'll give you that. It literally does that. That's probably the best aspect of this movie for me right now. Is how they unsettle you with imagery and creepy vibes.
And while it's not like it's not one of my favorite. It won't be one of my favorite horror movies like The Shining or The Descent, because The Shining or The Shining and The Descent, those movies they're successful at creeping you out and unsettling you, and they still have good stories, good writing, good characters, all that type of stuff. But Texas Chainsaw doesn't have that. But Texas Chainsaw, it still really works at unsettling you and creeping you out. And at the end of the day, that is the main objective of a horror movie.
Legit, of course, in a meta sense, they did the most important objective like perfectly.
Yeah, so I love that. I love the 16. I love the 16 millimeter. It's
You
like
can
so
just see it's so retro, dude.
it's so retro, and I love the film grain. The film grain is just so
That's
good.
something I wish they had more of these days, because obviously everything is digital, so it's like
It's
you know,
clean.
it's that meme we made back in college. Flawless camera quality.
Flawless camera quality,
And
mate. Yeah.
that grimy sense of authenticity is just gone. You know,
That's
to,
got that-
to modern films.
Exactly. So watching a film like this, you do actually appreciate that because it's got
I
that
do.
very like grimy look, and because they deliberately use dirty film stock so that it would have even more film grain than compared to what normal film stock would have. It really does add to that grimy feel. Like this is
It
like a
proper
really
does.
this really is like a grimy 1970s film.
It puts you there. It puts you
Yeah.
in that area.
That's kind of what 1970s films were. A lot of them were like these very like grimy, dark type of films.
Legit, 70s was a weird era.
It was a very weird. It was a very dark era of cinema, but yeah.
True.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed this movie, but I mean, again, there's all the flaws about it. It has all of its flaws, but I appreciate it more the second time now that I've watched it.
Exactly. Like, I'm sure it's one of those that it gets better the more you watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine that, because there has to be a reason it has such a huge fan base, right? There must be a reason. But the first time you watch it, you're just like, is everyone insane except for me? So the second time I watch it, and I will rewatch it at some point, I will be on the lookout for things that are more,
Yeah,
like, that deserve more praise. Yeah.
yeah,
Because obviously I had a very surface level
yeah.
understanding of the movie.
Well,
being
you
the first
you
time.
basically had the reaction that everybody
Legit
has when
yeah.
they first watched this movie. They're just like,
Uh-huh.
what the hell did I just watch?
It's a very unstructured
Yeah.
slasher. If you compare it to the first entries of the other,
Of like
major
Friday the
players,
13th or
yeah.
whatever.
so yeah, no, I'm scarred. This movie is dreadful as of right now for me.
Yeah. But anyway, so continuing on with the story, basically, the Fred gets captured. He's the first guy to get captured by Leatherface. Then obviously his girlfriend is outside. She obviously goes into the house to go look for him, and then Leatherface grabs her. And then Leatherface, like, he's already dead. He's on the table, whatever. And then he grabs the girl and he puts her on this like meat hook while he's busy sawing and obviously slicing up her boyfriend or whatever in front of her. But that's another interesting thing about this movie. You don't see any actual gore or violence.
Right?
It's
I
all
thought so.
it's all very suggestive. And apparently, an interesting thing about that was that Toby Hooper, when he made this movie, he wanted it to actually he actually wanted to get a PG rating. Okay, obviously because PG-13 didn't exist at this point. It only PG-13. The first movie to do PG-13 was Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, because that movie was very violent, and then it was back in the day it was either PG or R. But obviously they didn't want to R for Indiana Jones because not many people think. So Steven Spielberg was like, okay, why don't we do like a middle ground rating, like an in between rating, and that's when PG-13 was created.
Legit.
But now at this point there was no PG-13. It was either PG or R.
Or
Yeah. So he really wanted a PG rating.
you try to keep it as censored as possible.
And no matter how much blood he cut out, no matter what he cut out, no matter what he did, he always got an R rating. That's just because the movie's unsettling, man.
It is, dude. It's not meant for like
Family viewing.
Family viewing, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but yeah, and I think that's the cool part is that it's actually a lot of the gore and everything is suggested. It's not actually like shown.
That's what I was thinking as well, because
they did a modern Texas Chainsaw movie. You would see everything, but he gets sliced up. You'd see the blood. You'd see the gore. You'd see everything basically. Whereas in older movies, they had that thing of like, no, let's keep it suggestive. So there's just people they can create a vision in their minds about what's actually happening.
Exactly,
and that's more scary than what's actually
legit.
Actually seeing. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Was the imagination is far scarier than anything you can put on the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
So to let the audience make up their own mind is far more terrifying.
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, not really much happens in the story for a while.
There's a story.
Yeah, loose space story, loose events
legit.
tied together. So basically, he's Leatherface is obviously already killed two of the people. We cut back to the van. Then the driver dude with the glasses, he decides, okay, I'm gonna go out and look for them. So he goes out and looking for them. And then Leatherface just ends up killing him as well. Dude. Basically, just like one by one, they all just get picked off.
They're like in modern games when NPCs see their friend die and they just keep walking up to the body. You whack the next oak, the next one comes walking.
Or basically in the video game when you basically just hold up in the one room and then the enemies all come in from through the exact same room and you just pot them with your gun.
That's legit what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah.
Goodness, I mean they. Like, to be fair, it is very, like, overgrown wherever they are. Like, in terms of actual environment, everything is very overgrown, grass and trees. So it's not that easy to maneuver, and it's kind of easy to get lost, especially for Franklin as well, because he has the wheelchair, and other people have to consider that. One thing I would like to say, because I've been bashing this movie, and one positive thing I would like to give it is I didn't think Leatherface was a family. I thought it was one guy.
Yeah, you don't know that it's that he actually has a whole like twisted family or whatever.
Legit, dude, Resident Evil 7 style. That was pleasantly surprising. I mean, they kind of lost points again when they brought out Grandpa from the Cold War, but jeez, it was a pleasant surprise to see that. It's like some twisted older brother, instead of just one Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
But I think ironically, Leatherface gets like the least recognition in his own bloody movie.
Yeah, he does get the least recognition. Well, also, the thing is, remember, he was meant to kind of just be like the muscle of the movie.
Legit, bro.
And then when people saw the movie, they were like, oh no, Leatherface, he's like the best part of the movie. And then with the sequels, they're like, okay, we have to lean more into Leatherface.
Yeah,
because he's the popular kid, basically.
He is. He actually, you helped with context there. He's legit just there. He's the muscle, because he's like that big guy.
Yeah, originally they just wanted him to be the creepy big guy, the creepy big guy for the muscle for the gang, and then Leatherface obviously ended up being the popular part of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably because we always tend to recognize like masks and costumes more than actual people.
Yeah.
So I think it became like an icon.
Yeah.
And then they said, nah, the success was too great not to
exactly
make sequels around him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that was not my one positive, but definitely a major positive was the fact that it wasn't a Lone Ranger.
Yeah, exactly.
That really caught me off guard, because usually the slashes is like one dude,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was a nice change of pace, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So basically they go out, and then eventually she's just like insistent, like, no, I'm not leaving without Jerry. So they have to go they have to go off into the middle of the night. Like, she's pushing his wheelchair and obviously struggling because, again, the terrain guys. But anyway, didn't think this through.
They really didn't think this through.
Yeah. Anyway, they're busy going through it. Then Leatherface shows up and he obviously he murders Franklin. And then he chases Sally, and he chases her for like 5 minutes or something. Dude. It's like 5 minutes of just straight up. And there's like there's like music in the beginning and like sort of like throughout the film, but a lot of the time with chase sequences there's no music. All you basically hear is just screaming and you hear the sound of the chainsaw.
Legit, bro.
But yeah, we were saying that like Leatherface got all of his cardio for the day.
Dude, he did, eh? Because he was like cardio.
Because like it's like 5 minutes. So he's like running after this girl. She's like running and like he's like running through the forest, and he's like just busy like using his chainsaw to chop away all the wood that gets in front, all the branches that get in front of him and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like 5 straight minutes of him running and chasing. I'm just kind of going like, in front of the other movies they usually cut these up so it's like a minute or so and then it's done.
Yeah, no, but they made sure he ran, bro. Like, maybe Toby Hooper saw him have one too many Big Macs on set, and he was like, "No, bro, you're gonna run it off." Yeah, because there's a lot of running in that one scene. Obviously, it wasn't like a one take thing, but still, it's a long sequence.
It's a long running sequence, basically.
Legit.
Anyway, eventually she runs to she eventually makes her way back to the gas station, and then she obviously reveals to she's like screaming and like she's like hysterical, basically, and then the but the owner's basically just like, yeah, no, don't worry, no one's out there. Like, let me go get the truck, and I'll take you to the police station.
The truck.
The truck. And then basically, he basically just reveals that, like, yeah, a part of it, you know.
As soon as she ran in there, and then Hillbilly Joe came out, I knew it was him. I knew he was involved, rather.
Yeah, and we find out that it's a whole family of, like, cannibals, basically.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Yes, I lost that question while you were talking. Like, they are cannibals, right? There are some Walking Dead season 2 type people. I'm talking about Telltale's Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, obviously they're cannibals.
Okay. Because I wasn't, like, it was hinted at, but then there's also a lot of other bones there. There's, like, cow bones, and then there's those chickens and stuff like that. So I wasn't really sure if they were outright cannibals.
Yeah,
I think it was just more suggestive. That's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think they are cannibals, basically.
I think they are.
Yeah, and he's, like, not very subtle about it. He comes out with, like, this bag. He's, like, wrapping it up, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, what's the bag? Get inside the bag. Basically. I'm just like, dude, like, shouldn't you, like, knock her out? Or, like, I don't know, like, you know, chloroform her, then put her in the bag, so, you know. But no, he's not subtle about it. He's just like, yeah, I'm the bad guy. So.
Just hop in this bag.
Just hop in this bag. Let's go.
Yeah, he's a horrible villain. And that's the thing is, he's the oldest of the three. So Grandpa is his dad. I bet you he's so disappointed in his son. Like, bruh, the kids do a better job than you do at being a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's awful.
So, I don't know. He basically takes her back to the house. The creepy hitchhiker from the beginning is there, as well as Leatherface, and then they basically knock her out, and then she wakes up at the dinner, and then we have the dinner table scene, which is pretty much like they pretty much recreated that completely in Resident Evil 7. They took direct inspiration from it.
Except it took like 5 minutes to write that scene's dialogue because it's literally just screaming.
Yeah, it's just screaming and everything.
I was getting so irritated at that point, dude.
I do like that scene though. That scene is very unsettling though.
It is legit.
I do, well, in terms of cinematography, because whenever they cut to Sally, they always like, you know, do these like zooms into her face
and like
and
her
like
eyes.
these ultra close-ups of like her eyes, her eyelid, and you see like the veins in her eyes.
Yeah, it's pretty tense, dude. It's very, very tense. I'll give you that from a like
cinematography.
From a cinematic standpoint, like that, it is well done, but. It drags a bit in terms of the screaming, especially when they're trying to help Grandpa from the hood gather his hammer and, like, you know, finish her off. I'm like, bruh, you know how much arthritis he has. Just let him die in peace already. Instead, they're fiddling with him like a puppet and all.
Yeah, it's like so stupid. I don't know, man, it's painful.
It is, man.
Yeah, I was kind of just like, just get Leatherface to do it. Leatherface, he'll just chop her up with his chainsaw. Like, you know, chop her up with the chainsaw, done.
He won't even need a weapon. He can just use his fist and he'll have the same effect.
But yeah, basically they get this scene of like, oh no, Grandpa should do it because Grandpa used to sledge them, kill them good. And then like they bring her over this like bucket, and then they want the Grandpa to like hit her with a hammer. But the Grandpa is he's like 130 years old. He's not moving.
Dude, I don't even know if he's alive.
So they put like the hammer in his hand, and then they keep like, and they move his arm like this, and they keep doing this, but it keeps falling in the bucket. And I'm just looking at this, just going, you guys suck at your job.
You really do, man.
You're like, it's both scary but also unintimidating at the same time.
It really is, bro. It's that Scooby-Doo level of villainy. That's what I was talking about. Like, initially you're like,
D-list villains.
D-list villains, dude. That's why I don't know this movie, man. Yeah. Like as I say, I really don't like it as of right now. I'll be honest, I hate it. But it hopefully gets better with future watches. And I'm trying not to be too critical of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like it as a strict horror movie.
I like it as a concept
because it is very unsettling and scary to watch.
From a production standpoint, it's very, very good.
Yeah, the production design is very good.
But from a story aspect,
I mean, especially when we sort of talked about that when that girl goes looking for Fred, and she like stumbles around in the house, she like finds all these bones and everything there, and like all these like weird bone shrines and everything. It's basically like a slaughterhouse.
It is legit. It is. That's what I thought of. That's probably why they brought it up so much. It's almost like a slaughterhouse metaphor, isn't it? Except it's for people rather than
cattle.
Cattle, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the concept reinvented.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it is. But still.
Yeah.
Like if they had, say, I think I was just really irritated with it by the end because even though, I mean, they had really impressive imagery,
Yeah.
They counteracted it with having this, you know,
Style,
180-year-old dude.
Yeah, style no substance.
Style no substance, legit. That's the best way to sum it up. And they had so much screaming. And it wasn't just the victim, it was the family. They were just as scared of her. And it was like 15 minutes of that. You know, they were practicing their pig calling or whatever, but no. Sorry. I hate constant screaming as in real life. Anyone who screams and whinges and bickers, I hate them. So this movie really got under my skin to the point of like, it's visually impressive, but shut the f***. I was getting so irritated. So shut up! Legit, bro.
You're gonna watch that, like when you rewatch the movie, you're gonna watch that scene on mute.
I told my mom last night when we walked out after watching, I was like, hey mom, there's this movie, you might enjoy it, but for fuck's sakes, watch it on mute. Oh, I hate the end of it. And that's just like, it's a personal thing for me to hate whinging, bitching people, you know?
Yeah.
So, but no, it was dragging. As you said, it was style over substance. From a production standpoint, it was very impressive and they had a solid concept. And then if you look at it from a sort of the other side, you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the two sides were clashing too much.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, then basically she eventually escapes. She runs away. They're busy. Both Leatherface and the hitchhiker guy chasing her. And I'm kind of just going like, she's not even running that fast. It almost looks like she's jogging.
Dude, legit.
And this guy's like right behind her. I'm just like, you can't catch up to her, man. Come on.
I do find impressive how they just outright jump out of windows though. That I'll give the cast. They were just like, nope.
Because this girl doesn't run out the door, whatever.
No,
just jumps
out
the
window,
like,
dude.
Screw this shit.
Legit. I thought that was very cool. And she does it twice, or at least it happens twice. I don't know if it's the same person. And she runs away. I assume she has like some sort of leg injury because they kind of...
Well, because she got like blood and bruises obviously from jumping through glass.
Legit. Exactly. So they kind of toying with her because they're keeping up with her, but they're obviously not catching her. They're giving her that sense of false hope like she's actually outrunning them. And then Leatherface eventually catches up because he had another Big Mac before he started running.
Yeah. Basically, they're running and then... the hitchhiker guy eventually grabs it, but there's this truck coming on the road, and then
I always thought it was the same truck.
She breaks away from him, and the truck basically like rides over him, so he's dead. I was like, oh, good dude, just die.
Yeah, satisfying. That's what you get for hitchhiking.
Satisfying death. Anyway, they murder the truck murders him. And then Leatherface continues chasing her. And then this pickup truck comes, and then she gets inside the pickup truck. Well, at first the truck stops because obviously he rode over somebody. And then she like jumps in the car. That he takes like the wrench, and like the two of them are like running together. And then he throws the wrench at like Leatherface and like knocks Leatherface. Leatherface falls over.
And the chainsaw.
His chainsaw like slices his leg a bit. He's like ah. And like he continues chasing them. The truck driver just gets away. Like he runs off in the other direction. So I don't know where the fuck that guy went.
Dude, I love how they run up to the truck and then they climb in. Like he gets in first as soon as he sees Leatherface, and then she climbs in. I was like, you could have just driven off.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. You could have just driven.
Dude, you could have played that whole scene to the Benny Hill anthem and it would have been okay.
He's like scratched his chainsaw on the door. It's not breaking the door or anything, it's just making scratches. Basically.
Legit, dude. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Finger painting? Come on, open the door.
Just drive. Yeah. Anyway.
I think it's the kind of movie you watch when you're high and you shouldn't concentrate too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they're busy. The concept of doors. Let's bring up doors for a second. That one girl runs into. I think it's Sally as well. When she first goes into the house, whatever, she runs into the house. She like slams the door shut and like obviously like runs up the stairs or whatever. And I'm kind of just going, okay, well that's not going to stop me. He's just going to open the door. And then Leatherface is like chainsawing through the door, and I'm like. Dude, the door's not locked. Literally just open the door.
Dude, same. And the thing is, he couldn't open the door because that was too complex. But he couldn't cut through it either because he does this whole flippin' Da Vinci artwork and then he kicks the door open anyway and it's intact. Like the door, where he sawed it isn't even damaged. I thought he was gonna like sort of weaken it and then push through it, you know? And instead he just does some graffiti and then opens it anyway, and I'm like, what is this? Oh, this guy, this movie, man, this movie. It's definitely not getting a poster slot. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, it's not getting a poster slot.
No.
It'll be on my side. It will be on my side of the office, and then you'll just be like, okay, that's on your side. It's not coming to my
It's
side.
definitely not coming here. No.
Yeah. Yeah, but
the concept of doors. Yeah, that guy, dude, he has the most OP weapon for like removing obstacles, and you still can't get it right. He can't open truck doors. He can't open actual doors.
I mean, freaking hell. I mean, one of the most sort of referencing video games. Yeah, Resident Evil 4. The most scariest enemy is the chainsaw or the chainsaw guys with the bags over their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember every time I start a new playthrough of Resident Evil 4, I always have this like massive sense of dread because there's that beginning section in the village where you get ambushed and you have to fight off like waves and waves of villagers, and there's that one chainsaw guy that comes after you, and while you're busy fighting and shooting all the other villagers, you also have to constantly keep an eye on him because you can't let him get close to you, because if he gets close to you, he's just going to slice your head off. So, and like it always has like this dread. And then like you can shut the door closed, but he's just going to like ram right through it. And I'm kind of going like, okay, Leatherface, you should have been like that. You should have just been like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but my point of that whole tangent was that, like, I feared the chainsaw guy because there was almost nothing that could stop this guy. I mean, it takes, like, almost, like, 8 shotgun shells to take him down. And because half the time when you shoot him with a shotgun shell, when you blow him with a shotgun, it'll blow him back and you'll fall on his ass, but he's going to get back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It instills that dread. I mean, Leatherface in this movie got his ass kicked by a garden hedge. He sucks at his job, dude. So,
you had that job, man.
Dude, legit. So I think that they kind of...
I mean, in the Texas Chainsaw Law, Leatherface is he is a mentally challenged person.
Yeah, you can tell just because he doesn't actually speak. Like, he makes all these weird noises and stuff at the family meeting.
Yeah. They intended Leatherface to be one of those like mentally challenged, obviously, mentally handicapped people, which is fine with that and everything. But yeah, and I'm kind of just going like, okay, I understand he's mentally challenged, but like, you can't just open the door, man. Come on, man. That's common sense.
I get what you're trying to say. Like, I think they wanted to maybe get a bit more fear into the audience because you can see what this chainsaw can do to a person, so you start like freaking out when he starts using it on the door. But then he starts making finger art and it goes nowhere, so they subtracted from it by not being like, essentially anything they did with the chainsaw was wasted. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Basically, she gets to the pickup truck, she rides off, and then there's that iconic shot of like Leatherface throwing a tantrum, basically. Like,
yeah, I do like that
chainsaw and everything, and you see the sunset behind him. That is a very nice shot.
I do like that.
And yeah, then the movie just ends.
Man, that's it. And then the credit roll. Can we also just talk about how she can't get in the bloody truck? The pickup truck, like we call it a buggy.
She's scared out of her mind, man.
Yeah, she's scared out of your mind. That means your adrenaline will be insane, bro. She could like one hand that we are Matrix style, but she's like, legit, bro. I mean, she could have. Okay, I understand her leg was like injured, but. Jeez. I mean, he could have made a sandwich in the time it took her to get in that truck. It was outright upsetting.
Yeah, anyway.
She's like, I don't want to damage my heels.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, basically, that's pretty much the end of our rant, I guess. Some shots I really enjoyed. I enjoyed quite a lot of shots, actually. There's a lot of like low angle shots, especially when they're busy walking from like there's like those low angle shots from behind when they're walking through the forest or whatever. Those shots are very nice. There's that one shot where the guy where the driver goes looking for the other two. There's a shot where he's like walking in the forest and you see like that sunset behind him. Very beautiful shot. Also a shot where they come to where the two initial teenagers come to the thing where they first encounter Leatherface or whatever. The camera sort of like pans as they're busy like walking,
and it stops in the swings.
And then it stops by the swings, and then it's like a frame within a frame.
That's
it's
like
very beautiful.
Cool. I like that. I agree.
But yeah, the cinematography is very good, And also, like the dinner scene, the zoom shots of her eyes and everything, those
dude,
are amazing.
that's intense, dude. They have
So, yeah.
good sequences, actually.
So yeah, so I will say one thing that was very good was the cinematography. Cinematography.
Oh,
was
hands
excellent.
down, for sure. I refuse to bash that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that's like a 10 out of 10.
Legit, bro. Anyway, do you have any more, or should I list?
No.
Okay.
That's basically the ones that I had.
Basically, my shots are almost parallel to yours. Like the first one is when the couple is they're walking together. It's a very low angle shot, and you can blatantly see the sun.
Yeah.
In the frame with them. That's a good shot. I just like things where they do that, where they have the sun. I like those shots. It was when they had that fight in front of their van.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll put the sequence in so they'll know what I'm on about.
Yeah.
And the last one is the chainsaw the Swan Lake performance at the end.
Yeah, when it was like throwing the tantrum and everything. Yeah,
that was really dope.
I mean, that is an iconic shot. That's pretty much what
is.
made people fall in love with Texas with Leatherface.
I can understand, but then also I just want to shout out the anything to do with the slaughterhouse themes. Those shots of like the rooms with the bones and stuff like that. They really solidly creepy, dude. They have extreme close-ups and weird angles and quick cuts to make you tense, and you're just like, ugh.
And the whole and the whole 16mm dirty film stock aspect really adds to it.
That's
like
the final nail.
You get that really like grungy type of look.
I feel I had to shower after watching.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was like cinematography, 10 out of 10, bro. But actual rating, you want me first?
Okay, let me go first.
Okay. Too high.
It's so hard to rate this movie. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, simply just because the reason why it gets a high score is mainly just because of the tension and the atmosphere, and the cinematography is brilliant. But obviously what brings it down is just some of the bad writing, and also just some of the sequences just don't make sense. Like him like doing this whole finger puzzle thing on the door when he could just literally just open the door. Like if she closed the door and then brought like a cabinet or something down, then he could like do the chainsaw thing. But I'm like, dude, the door's not locked. Don't you just open the door?
Open the fucking door.
And also we were also making the joke of like, how does he use fuel for his chainsaw not run out?
Dude, he just leaves that thing running constantly. By the time he catches her, it's gonna.
Exactly.
Everything positive I've listed, which is not in abundance, shall I say. That'll give it a grand total of 4. I despise this movie, dude. I don't despise it, but I really wasn't a fan. Like, there's too many conflicting things, bro. From a cinematic and production standpoint, they did really, really well. Like, set design and everything. But from, like, characters and plots to questionable editing.
Just execution.
Yeah, it was, like, very... bleh. So, 4. It's probably the lowest I think I've ever ranked anything on this channel. Usually I'm the forgiving one, but not this time.
That's why when we had our 2 movies lined up for today to shoot, and you were saying to me, which one do you want to do first? I was like, Texas Chainsaw. What are your opinion?
Dude, because the thing is, I said please save dessert for last because I knew I would enjoy Cloverfield, but Texas Chainsaw, I went in blind, just knowing it was kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore. I don't have anything other than that to say, other than whoever fucking wrote and directed it should have a psychic evaluation. Exactly. Because this movie was questionable.
So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really, really appreciate the viewing. Our battery's about to die now, so we have to
speed run it.
We have to speed run this wrap up. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you like the content, please subscribe and click the bell notification so you get our things. And just overall, just thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.